It all starts right here. The green flag flies on the 53rd running of the Rolex 24 at Daytona, and Oz Negre on the inside, but they're racing close already.
They are. Scott Dixon pushes that target machine to the outside, and he goes for the lead.
I mean, that was a brave move there this early on. There's a lot of cooperation there. This is the lap to lead. It's all about bragging rights as the GT start goes under the TV booth.
Ollie Gavin leads Jimmy Bruni in that red and white Ferrari to the start in GTLM. But what a start by Scott Dixon. And there you're looking at them on the left side of the screen. The prototype field is Scott Pruitt now chases Oz Negre in that pole-winning car.
In the Tudor United Sports Car Championship, prototype class starts separately from GTs. You see it split right now. Prototypes on the left of your screen, GT on the right. But you called it. Scott Dixon in his target machine out in front and a spin in the horseshoe.
Coming out of turn 3.
One of the prototype challenge entries looks like the number 52.
Yeah, he looks dead in the water there, but that grass is very wet, by the way. He was lucky to get out of there quite so cleanly.
Tom Giver-Smith, 3-time class winner at Le Mans. Let's see what happens here. He gets stacked up, he gets clipped from behind there by that yellow machine. The number 85.
Just gets pushed around, and a lot of times if you were in a sprint race, you would say, well, that puts you way back. But remember, gentlemen, you've got over 23 hours to go, so you've got plenty of time to make up. Right now, Scott Dixon looking to build a lead. He leads there in the 0-2, the Ford-powered Riley from Ganassi Racing. Right behind him, the pole sitter from Mike Shank Racing, and a very different type of prototype. It's Oz Negre. Plenty of stories from the weekend. A lot of them will come from pit lane. Let's go to the second of our pit reporters, Chris Neville.
Well, Brian, for most of this race's 53-year history, it's been a race of attrition, just trying to get to the finish. But in recent years, reliability has gotten so strong that now it's a 24-hour sprint race. For most of the last 5 years, the margin of victory has been just seconds. So with this confidence in equipment, now the emphasis is on the human component, meaning the decisions behind the wheel and right here in pit lane are the keys to spraying champagne on Sunday.
Right now in the GT Le Mans category, those are the GT cars with the red number panels on the side. The battle is intense from the get-go. A lot of times we'll see them race hard early on, Calvin, and then kind of settle into a pace. But these guys pushing hard. And one of the factory Porsches from GTLM is on pit road. It looks like the number 912.
Well, remember, this squad won on debut here last year and then went on to win at Sebring. So not the sort of start they were looking to start 24 hours here at Daytona. But what a battle. We expect it all day long. Corvette versus Ferrari. Aston Martin there right in the frame.
It is Bruni versus Gavin right now. Bruni behind in the Ferrari, one of the most accomplished Ferrari GT drivers ever, and he is getting very sporty early on. This is the pace, Calvin. This is what they're going to be doing every hour for 24 hours. In the old days, there used to be quarter given, and you'd run to a pace, but not now.
Now it's flat-out racing, but just minimize the risk. Don't take any chances. Don't trade any paint. Don't burst any body work. But right now, Jimmy Bruni wants the lead of this motor race. I think he wanted the pole yesterday. He didn't quite get that, but right now he's going for the lead. Heads to the inside in the brake zone.
This is a very fast entry to this left-hander. But right now, Calvin is working on the exit of the bus stop. The bus stop.
Oh, Gavin had a bobble there. Gavin had a bobble.
There's a problem for one of the prototypes at the exit of the bus stop. Perhaps Ollie Gavin just a lift off the throttle. That upset the car, and it takes very little.
Here comes the Portuguese driver, Pedro Lamy, in that gold livery Aston Martin. He's picking up a draft here through the tri-oval. Bruni goes high. Here comes Lamy.
Lamy is going to be looking. He's got the bird's eye seat there going in. He definitely didn't lift, as the other two in front of him did on the way out of the bus stop. But Bruni's got the outside line. I think Gavin can easily hold this, squeeze him across the road. There is pretty hard when you've got two pros going through turn one.
Oh, Gavin slips wide, though, Calvin. Ooh. Bruni slips past.
Beautiful driving. You said it earlier. They're going to go as hard as they can without touching. Sometimes they don't quite get the memo. We've seen that before. But right now, the team managers on the pit boxes, I bet, are watching with every bit of attention they have. Strategy right now is just flat out. Nothing else is coming into play. Everything's going to plan.
Awesome racing. Ollie Gavin's Corvette does not look that stable right now. Where we had some rain here in the early hours of the day. Now may have washed a little bit of rubber off this race circuit. That can change the balance of the race car. So I'm sure he's relaying that information back to the pit lane.
It's also much cooler today. We had a cold front blow through this morning, dropped a lot of rain, dropped the temperatures as Scott Dixon continuing to lead our pole sitter, Oswaldo Negre. Negri not letting him get away. But you said it, the track conditions have changed, and also it's going to take a while to determine what the track changes and the temperature changes have done to the handling of the cars. Now, the drivers inside those cockpits have some tools that they can work with to get some of that handling back, Hal.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few adjustments they can make. Certainly use the brake bars. Oh, we see the Martini livery number 8 car in the prototype challenge class go around. That's Renger van der Zande. He had a couple of victories last year. Real flying Dutchman he is. Ran in DTM over in Europe for a year or two, and really one of the sportiest drivers in that class. So much talent throughout this field.
Let's move back to GT Daytona. We talked about James Davison in his Aston Martin from the Racers Group, claiming his 5th straight pole in the Tudor United Sports Car Championship dating back to last year. That Aston Martin very quick, but they're going to need to endure. And right now, it's one more battle between a Ferrari and an Aston, but this is in the different class. This is in GT Daytona. They'll have the blue number panels on the side.
Yeah, Daniel Serra takes the lead in that brightly colored Ferrari. So Ferrari against Aston Martin.
You might think to yourself, why is it so important to take the lead this early on in the race? These are race drivers, this is race teams. It's very important, bragging rights for every team to lead these early stages. We've got a huge TV broadcast here. Everyone's aware of it. You think drivers and sponsors don't know that we're on the big stage? Everybody is performing to the maximum right now. You can see very clean racing as the Ferrari starts to pull away. I guess you can tell the nationality of that car without looking too hard, right?
Well, Serra's a second-generation racer. His father, Chico Serra, raced in Formula 1 back in the early 80s. A really nice man knew him when I was competing over in Europe, but this is a great start for that team.
In the prototype challenge category, the open cockpit prototypes, a spec chassis, meaning they're all identical, they all run on the same Continental tire, and that really brings it down to the teams and the drivers. Get a good look at the drivers working hard inside that car, because with no roof on it, you can see the battles that they're going through. The first car in your shot is the number 54 from Core Autosport, defending champions at this event and defending champions in the class in the Tudor United Sports Car Championship.
Just went on a tear at the start of last year, won here at Daytona, won the 12 hours of Sebring, won the 6 hours at the Glen, and ultimately claimed the big prize, and that was the championship. I think everyone was surprised that Colin Brown didn't claim the pole there. In qualifying, Johnny Mullen put together a great lap in the car that now runs in 2nd spot with the SpongeBob movie livery PC machine.
A great start to the 53rd running of the Rolex 24 at Daytona, but we've got a long way to go. How far? 23 hours and 52 minutes.